So Chris Christie, of course, just launched his presidential campaign, as you all know. And remember what he was most famous for the last time he ran. He was famous for absolutely ending little Marco Rubio. And understand, at the time, Christie was out of it, right? Like, he knew he wasn't going to win. So what he did is, behind the scenes, he cut a deal with Trump. And Trump was like, look, you act as my attack dog, and then you'll be rewarded for it. And the speculation at the time was that Christie was actually going to be Trump's VP. But it was basically vetoed by Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, because Jared Kushner's dad was put in prison by Chris Christie. But they had Chris Christie do all the work, and then they stabbed him in the back anyway. It was a real, like, Game of Thrones type moment, and Christie got played. But, again, most famous for when he started giving zero fucks, Chris Christie, when he stopped listening to his staffers who said you have to be more like a standard politician, and he started letting it all hang out. He was more interesting, he was more engaging, and he was ripping through a bunch of other Republicans, most importantly, Marco Rubio. So, with Christie running again, solely as a kamikaze mission against Donald Trump, by the way, but with Christie running again, there's a lot of articles that are out there that are bringing up Chris Christie's last run, and a lot of the articles are bringing up, yeah, the most prominent moment he had was when he basically ended little Marco. So Marco Rubio sees this. I'm sure this is the kind of guy who literally Google searches his own name, because that's who Marco Rubio is. And he comes out with the copiest Copington Cope tweet of all time that I've ever seen, ever. So he says, any political reporter or commentator claiming Christie ended my campaign in 2016 is lazy or dumb. Now, man, I'd say they're just being accurate, because it was directly after he obliterated you that you went from somewhat being in the conversation to being non-existent. New Hampshire debate sucked because instead of hitting back when attacked like I wanted to, I listened to advice about pivoting and not punching down on Chris Christie, who was at 7% and about to drop out. But it didn't end my campaign. Oh, that's so embarrassing. Oh, that's the most embarrassing thing I ever heard in my life. So, by the way, this shows you how useless political advisors are among establishment Republicans and, of course, among establishment Democrats. They were giving him advice like, if Chris Christie hits you in the face, do not react because he's below you. Then you're just going to get cucked on stage like the little bitch you are. But they gave him that advice, and he was dumb enough to take it. He took it. After New Hampshire, I finished second in South Carolina and Nevada, won 3 primaries, almost won Virginia on Super Tuesday, finished with the 3rd most delegates behind Trump's historic campaign, and was reelected twice by 8 and 17 points. Massive, massive, massive cope. You're bragging about coming in 3rd place? 3rd place. 3rd place. Your ass got beat by Weasel Boy Ted Cruz. I'm Ted Cruz. Me. I'll say whatever you want me to say in order for you to vote for me. Why don't you like me? Me. I'm Christian. Me. You lost to that guy? And you're out here like, bro, I came in 3rd. What ifs? No big deal. The point he's really trying to make is, I beat Chris Christie, so he couldn't have ended my campaign. No. Yeah, you did beat Chris Christie, but he still ended your campaign. There's no contradiction there. There's no contradiction at all. I wanted to go back and revisit this glorious moment. And I love everybody's putting the, responding with wint tweets, drill tweets. And I did so myself as well, you know. I'm not owned, I say as I gradually shrink into a corn cob. I'm not mad, please don't put in the newspaper that I'm mad. This is what this sounds like, right? But let's revisit this glorious moment. And you tell me, look, I already poisoned the well and told you my thoughts on it, but for the love of God, put that out of your mind. You react on your own. What do you think happened here?
You have not been involved in a consequential decision where you had to be held accountable. You just simply haven't. I want the people at home to think about this. That's what Washington, D.C. does. The drive-by shot at the beginning with incorrect and incomplete information, and then the memorized 25-second speech that is exactly what his advisors gave him. See, Marco, the thing is this. When you're president of the United States, when you're a governor of a state, the memorized 30-second speech where you talk about how great America is at the end of it doesn't solve one problem for one person.
This notion that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing is just not true.
There it is.
He knows exactly
what he's doing. There it is, the memorized 25-second speech.
There it is,
everybody. You know what the shame is? You know what the shame is, Marco? The shame is that you would actually criticize somebody for showing up to work, plowing the streets, getting the trains run back on time, when you've never been responsible for that in your entire life.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace. By the way, guys, he said that at least 3 or 4 times. This notion that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing is not true. He knows exactly what he's doing. First of all, that's not clever. Second of all, why would you repeat it 3 or 4 times? He walked right into Chris Christie's trap. So yeah, Christie ended his sad ass. And here he is, embarrassing himself on the timeline. The way to signal you're not still owned 7 years later is definitely to tweet through it. Christie says, we didn't bring it up, but we know exactly what we are doing. He's throwing the quote back at him. Donate at chrischristie.com. This is me, Little Marco. I'm not owned. I continue to insist as I slowly shrink and transform into a corn cob. When you're explaining, you're losing. This is like a 26-year-old complaining about their high school bully. It's been that long. All right, guys, that's the show. I love y'all very much. Thank you, as always, for tuning into the show, hearing me babble. Sorry that we're not in the studio today. Sorry that the sound quality is not all that great. We thought we had a microphone here where I am now, but in fact we didn't, and so you're just getting a little bit lower quality audio, and I do apologize for that. Unfortunately, we're probably looking at the same thing tomorrow, but at some point we'll be back in the studio. Sound quality will be better, but just know I love all y'all deeply. Everybody do me a big favor. Click like, click subscribe. That's probably the most important part. Click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time a video drops. That helps to subvert, the algorithm, which is not all that kind to us, as many of you know. Remember, guys, I do not take any money for the show. I've never had a conversation with an advertiser or a corporation. We fund it through small dollar donations, through Patreon, fund Crystal Kyle and Friends through Substack. With Crystal Kyle and Friends, it is literally all small dollar donations. I have no moral objection to like the buffered ads where, you have a Google AdSense deals with it and I never have to talk to the advertisers. That I'm fine with. I have no moral issue with it, but I never do ads where I read it. I never talk to any corporations or advertisers. Very proud of that fact. So if you can support the show, please consider. You can even just tip on YouTube. There's a thanks button below, which helps you do that. And remember, you can always listen to the full audio podcast over on Spotify. That's always an option for this show now. And there was an issue with it the other day, but it's since been fixed. It's not just there was like only a small portion of the show was uploaded, but now the full shows are uploaded and everything should be good moving forward. So that's all I got for you guys. I love you very much. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.